as Ollie said, we're kind of picking up from the first webinar, which was looking at structuring your data. Now, is really getting into the interesting part, where you're designing your pages and really deciding how your users are going to interact with your data. And I think this is where kind of you start to see the magic. So, what we were looking at last time was just sort of spreadsheet type data, and now turning it into a real app that we can use. So I'm actually going to continue the use case that we started, which for anybody that wasn't at the first webinar, our starting point is really a spreadsheet. So we've got this sales CRM where we track our deals and we track our team members, who's assigned to those deals, how much they're worth. And last time what we did is we took this information and really stackerized it. We converted it into a stacker app. So we've got a few different tables. We've got all our deals, our stages, team members, and then we even connected a Google Sheet, which contains some booking information. So now what we're going to do is, now that we've got this base of data, we're going to build our app. We're going to build the pages, and super excited to jump right in. So first things first, the one thing you're going to notice once you've got your tables in there, you've got your data, really each table is represented by a page. So I've got my company deals page, and this is basically just a list view is what we call it. We've got all of our team members, and you can kind of just see everything here. We've got our stages and our bookings. And before we jump into kind of building out some of these pages, just wanted to touch on actually a new feature. So right now we're looking at all these pages based on tables, but you also in Stacker have the option of building what's called a custom page. So a custom page is sort of agnostic of data. And for example, you could just have a welcome page if you wanted. And I'm gonna do this very quickly here. I'm just gonna have a welcome video, and I'm gonna use an embed to embed that information. Let me just grab my link. You can see that creates an embed. I can adjust that slightly. You can also put a title there as well. So, we could have this as a landing page. Maybe it's a video about how to use this portal. There's a number of different things you can do here. You can also supply some quick links as well if you want to link to internal or external things. So perhaps you want to link to other pages to create a deal, or maybe you've got an external knowledge base that you want to point your users to. That's what these custom pages are really great for. You don't need any data for them. It's really about positioning different types of information that may live in Stacker or elsewhere. So touching on that new product piece that we're all super excited about, I wanted to jump into what we're building here. So the first thing we're going to do is on the left-hand side, we have what's called the navigation. And these are all your different pages, and your users would see these and be able to navigate through these pages. I'm going to change this slightly. We do have a few options around navigation. So right now we have it on the left-hand side, but we can actually place it on the top, which I want to do. The thing I like about placing the navigation on the top is it just gives you more real estate, right? You automatically just have a bigger page that you can work with. So let's go back to that navigation, just change a few things. We can move all of these items around. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of these icons because as you'll see, I'm just obsessed with emojis. So I'm going to put some emojis for each of my pages here. But we do have icons that you can, I'm actually going to turn off the stages one. Yeah, we do have a whole set of icons that you can use as well. I'm just an emojis type of guy. So we've got these set up looking good. I want to move my team members actually up to the top. Key thing here is that the page that's at the very top is considered the home page. What that means is that when your users log in, this is the page they're going to jump to. It could be the welcome page that we make our home page. I'm just going to put it as team members for now, but I think that's the most important thing to understand there. So we've got our navigation set up here. And what I want to jump into next is our team. So I want to go to team members. And here we have a list of all of our different team members. We've got a lot of information that perhaps we don't need in a list. So I'm going to go to my layout and change some things here. The fundamental control you have around views is this display option. So we have a number of different display options that will immediately transform your page. You know, we've got table by default, but I can set these to cards if I want. There's rows, which looks similar to a table, inbox view. There's so many different things. For this one, I'm actually going to do we're just going to keep it as a list. In fact, no, maybe we'll do cards. Let's do cards, and we're going to edit some of this stuff. So by default, I've got all the fields here. I don't really need all that information. So I'm going to pull out some of this information. Little pro. Yep, we got to.
I might point out that if you're watching this, you know, and sort of working along, you might find that these settings for fields are in the right-hand bar rather than on the actual card itself. So there's some versions of Stacker where that is the case, but yeah, it will give you all of the same settings and it'll be clear where they are.
Yeah, super good point. I'm going to add a headshot for my cover image. We'll just fit those better. Save that. So already we've transformed this list into something that's a little more interesting, visually speaking. So I'm going to get out of my layout here. So we've got all of our team members. And now what I want to do is we actually want to have a profile view as well. So I find that this is something that actually gets missed in Stacker a lot. All of these views, you can actually duplicate them and create new pages, which have different views or different filters on the same information. So here we've kind of got a gallery of all of our team members. But what I also want to create is just a profile page so that when our users log in, they can see their own profile. So I'm going to duplicate this page. Call this my profile. I'm going to change the display to one record only. So now we've got that single view of a record as opposed to all of them. We've got that my profile there. I'm going to change. These templates are really helpful to kind of just change and reorganize the information. I'm going to go to a profile. So automatically I've got this card on the left-hand side. I can put some information in there if I want. There's a bunch of different things I can do. I want to add perhaps some highlights on the profile as well. And we could see maybe some stats. You can see like value, average deal size, maybe like a count of bookings. I'm going to pull out some of these, some of this information that I don't need. Headshot we've already got there. Also, we'll just pull that out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to connect to some of the information that I've got in other tables. So obviously all of our salespeople are connected to deals that they're nurturing, and we want to be able to display those on their profile. So I'm going to use related record list. And what this does is it pulls in records that live in another table that are related to this person. So I'm going to go to company deals. And now we get that list. And you'll notice that these are only the deals that are related to Michael. We don't get other deals. We could show all the deals if we want to include all records, but we only want to show the related records. So I'm going to save this. The other thing I want to do is create a quick link for my salespeople to create a deal. So these quick links are really cool. One thing I'll mention, by default, there's 3. If you want to get rid of them, just delete the content in each of them and then they'll disappear. So just a pro tip here. So we've got the single one here. And I want to call this create deal. Just say click here to enter information about new prospect. There's some options here. So I want to do an internal link, and this is going to link to something within the system. So we'll go, and what we want to do is create new for company deals. So this is just referencing all the pages in our app. We can link that there. So now I've got a button. When somebody's on their profile, if they want to create a deal, they can click here, and then it's going to go to this form, which currently just has everything on it. There's just a bunch of stuff here. So we probably want to edit some of this information. So with all of the editing and page building you do is contextual. So when you hit edit layout, whatever page you're on, that's the page that you're going to be editing. Right now, I want to build a bit of a form here. Forms are a pretty key piece of Stacker. And we're going to call this just create a new deal. And this is where our salespeople can enter that information. Again, it's all about just, toggling on or toggling off certain pieces of information. So obviously there's some things we don't need that we can pull out of here. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that. A company name, contact name. Another thing that I really like about these forms is that you can have different sections. So maybe you want to have a section that's called contact details. And then perhaps we want to add another section called, where did our section go? Here it is. We'll just call this deal details. And basically any of the fields that are under a section will be, within that section. I think you'll see here. So I'm going to pull out some of this other stuff as well. Stage we're going to need. Next step, maybe we'll pull this out. Expected close date, we'll leave that. Email. So we'll move some of this stuff around. I think we want our deal value there. We'll put this under deal as well. Close date. So obviously I've got a bunch of fields here. So now I've got this really simple form that's broken up into these 2 sections. You could have a bunch of different sections for your form. One thing I want to do is for the stage, I just want to have a default value. So I don't want them to actually select this value. I just want, when they've done this, maybe we just want them on qualified. I can set this as read only so that they can't change it as well. And the other thing we can do to have some form validation here is we can have required fields as well. So if we want to require the company name, we can. And perhaps we want to acquire the value too. Cool. So we've got a very simple form that we've created, and we're ready to save that. So next, I'm just going to jump over to the deals. And again, we're going to play around with this to make it a bit better. I'm going to go to my display. I'm going to keep it as the table view. I want to add a cover image that has their logo, make it a bit nicer. Can pull out some of these fields that perhaps we don't need. Just very quickly do some of that. Another cool thing about list views, really helpful, is inline filters. So these are filters that your customers or your users can use to filter information. So automatically, I've got all these ways that I can filter my data, see everyone that's in follow-up, and I can choose which fields I want to specifically include, if not all of them. So this is looking a bit better. We're going to save that. And we're just going to jump into the actual deal view. I'm going to use a different template here called listing. So it just takes the picture of the logo and puts it there. I'm going to use something called pipeline because I want to see at what stage these are at, and pipeline view is a really great way to do that. So I'm going to include all these. I can kind of move these around according to how they work here. Perhaps lead is the first one. Cool. So now we got a pretty good visual view of where this deal is at. I'm going to save that layout.
One little thing with the pipeline widget, there's a little tick box on it to make it not read-only, which means it took me ages to find that. When you untick that, it means you can actually click on the pipeline to move it forward, which is just a nice little, I like that little touch.
Yeah, it's a great feature. It's a good flag too. Yeah, so if I take the read-only off and I click, get this little option, and then I can confirm it, and it will move across. So definitely really useful if your users need to change that information. I'm going to add a few related lists. So I want to see, first I'm just going to get rid of these. I want to see who owns this. So I'm going to link it back to the team member. So now I can see that Thomas owns that. I can add some information about Thomas from his profile if I want, like that. And then I'm also going to do a related list so that I can see all of the bookings related to this customer. So I can see that there's one booking here to easily navigate to that. Another thing I want to add here, I'll put some fields. And I've got this interesting mail to field, which is a formula, which just takes the email and then puts a mail to at the end. And what this will do is when you click on it, it will just open that email within the email browser. So I want to treat this as a URL and actually display it as a button. So now I could just say email company, or let's say email contact. That, and I will save that. And now I can very quickly click on that button. It's going to open my email client, and then I can start crafting that email. But just an example of how you can take a URL within a field and then turn it into a button. The other type of button I want to add here is just a button to mark this as lost. So we're going to go to page buttons, and I'm going to call this mark as lost. So we couldn't get the deal through. And I've got a field called lost, which I want to update when somebody presses this button. And I also want a default value. So I just want to default to this. I can set it so that people can't change it. This is helpful if you just, what you want to update something. So I'm going to save that, save this step. You can put some descriptions there, like a warning. But if I turn on my button, see, I get my button at the top right corner. I can click that, and then that's actually going to update the profile so that it's in lost. So if we go and see the data from Minx, we'll see that that lost checkbox is checked. You can also set some rules so that when somebody sets this button will disappear, for example. A lot of cool things you can do there. The other thing I want to do is just to make it obvious that something has been lost. I'm going to put a call out on the actual record. So I'm going to call this a warning. This deal has, actually say deal lost. So now what we can do that we have this call out, we can set conditional visibility. And this basically just means that we're only going to show this element when these conditions are met. So I'm going to go to lost, and I'll set this as true. So now we've set up a rule that this call out is only going to show up when this is the case. So if we go to other deals, for example, you'll notice that you don't see that call out, but if I mark it as lost, our call out now appears, which is really cool. And it's really just about making it as easy for your users to navigate and also understand the information that's on the page. So last thing I'm going to play around here with, and I know we're running low on time here, but I'm going to jump over to our bookings. So we do have a bunch of bookings from our that actually live in a Google Sheet. So I'm going to go back and let's go to our bookings here. And these are all tied to a date. So what I want to do is actually put these on a calendar. We actually have a calendar view. So I'm going to go to edit my layout, go to display, set this to calendar. And then you'll notice automatically that all of these bookings are now put on a calendar view. We can also share this view with our team members on their profile, so they can only see their meetings within the context of this calendar. The other thing I want to do is set a filter here so that we're only showing meetings that are in the future. So I'm going to take our date, and then I'm going to say is after today. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this page and just call this all bookings. We could even say it's like past bookings. And then we could, change this filter if we want. Maybe we go all before for today. And we can make this display more of just a table view. So you can kind of get a history of past meetings. So now we've got these two views of bookings. So yeah, we've sort of gone through all of these different pages and taken these list views that started as data in our data view and turned them into pages. And what you'll notice about Stacker, everything is really drag and drop and toggle on and off. And this is intentional just so you can build as quickly as possible. There's a lot of tweaks we can make to this, but really just goes to show, how much you can do in, 20 or so minutes. So I'll leave it there and open it up for questions, and perhaps I'll throw it over to you, Ollie.
Yeah, so I was going to say you built it in kind of 20 or so minutes, but that's with explaining it as well. I imagine that you could actually build this in like 5 minutes at this.
Yeah.
No, with just like pew, pew, pew. So we do have a couple of minutes left for any questions. If you do have any, if you want to ask something or just challenge Liam on his emoji usage, then feel free to do so. But if not, I'll give it just a few seconds. I like to leave a bit of an uncomfortable silence just so someone asks something. You will get a recording of this for sure. Yeah, that's where you make me panic and I look and make sure it definitely is recording. Yep. Cool. I will send the recording of this and the previous session after this. And yeah, I guess if there's no other questions, we can probably finish a couple of minutes early. So Liam, is there anything else you want to say on this? Or
No. It's fun to go through this, and looking forward to the next installment of these webinars as well.
So yeah, next week at the same time, we have one about permissions, which I think is one of the trickiest things for many people to sort of wrap their brain around when they're building their app. So do make you join us for that. Do make sure you join us for that as well, because I think it'll be a good one. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot in that one for sure. And yeah, thanks so much. I'll follow up with an email afterwards. And yeah, we'll hopefully catch you soon. All right. Cheers. Bye for now.
See you guys.